BookTube. This is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. It's Tag Tuesday, and I'm about to do 2 tags. So the first tag I'm going to do is the gift tag, which was created by Thea from Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas. And I was tagged by Shelley Swearingen. Thank you so much, Shelley. And really, there's only 2 questions in this book. So the first question is, what is the best book you've ever received as a gift? So I just grabbed a couple. Hamlet, this particular edition of Hamlet, with Benedict right there. Oh my goodness. And one of you wonderful people gave this to me. And yes, so we have multiple copies of Hamlet in the house, but I mean, if you're gonna have multiple copies of something, it should be something good, right? So this was a really, really wonderful gift. I also I would be remiss if I didn't mention that when I finished reading all the books that had won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction, Jason gave me this huge tote bag, which I still have, I love it, full of books. And I didn't grab all of the Betsy Tacy books, but he bought me essentially the Betsy Tacy series, which I love, and yeah, has brought me so much pleasure over the years. So that was a fantastic gift, and I needed something light after all those Pulitzers. Now, the second question in this tag is, what is the best book you've ever given? I've given a lot of books away in my lifetime, so I don't really have an answer to this question, but I thought instead I would ask Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse, and Jason said, I thought I would ask him, like, what's the best book he's ever been given, in case maybe I gave it to him, but I did not, and that's okay. This is Sarah Waters' The Night Watch, and this was her wedding gift to Jason and I. So, to Jason and Kelly, wishing you lots of love and happiness and many hours of reading. Sarah Waters. So it's kind of cool to get to have that as one of our wedding gifts. All right, now on to the book palette tag. This tag was created by Fraser at Fraser Simon's Springboard Thought. I was tagged by Mishelle Lexi. Thank you so much, Mishelle. Now, there are a lot of questions in this tag, and I will have all of them down below, but there's also kind of bonus points, or I'm a little confused about it, so I'm not answering all of the questions, and I'm not going to address the bonus points simply because I'm trying to fit 2 tags into one video. So, the book palette tag, first prompt is sweet. What is a book that made you excited to read more by that author? So for that, I would have to go with Bleak House by Charles Dickens. Now, I had read Charles Dickens before, but it was in that terrible English class that I keep talking about. And yeah, I just didn't really think Dickens was for me. And then in one year, Jason kind of gathered a group of people to try to read Bleak House, The Pickwick Papers, and Little Dorrit, which was a great reading year, as you can imagine. Lots of big books. But Bleak House was the first one we read, and it just really blew my mind away. It is just such a masterpiece. So anyway, this made me a huge Dickens fan, as well as The Pickwick Papers and Little Dorrit. But yeah, so I've been trying to read through Dickens since then. Sour. What book did you initially dislike, but after a reread, you reversed your opinion on? So I'm not sure that it's that I wouldn't say I disliked this book. I would just say that I didn't really understand it. And that would be Beloved by Toni Morrison. I just did a reread review of this on my channel. So yeah, again, this was this was one of the books I read in that god-awful literature class in college, and the class just tainted everything we read, which is so sad because we read excellent things. This is now, wow, just again, a masterpiece, I think. So it's not so much like I changed I guess my opinion of it improved. I didn't really get it the first time that I read it. I didn't really appreciate its value. Okay, Bitter. What is a book that you feel is underrated, attacked unjustly by popular or mainstream opinion, or is simply misunderstood in some way? So the one book that I often hear people saying that they dislike is The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I have not read any more Hawthorne. I need to fix that. But this book really changed my life. I read this my senior year of high school, and I had a great English teacher for that class. And she just was so good at helping me kind of like, I don't know, peel the onion of all the different layers that are in this book. So, yeah, but I know a lot of people who are like, oh, The Scarlet Letter, ugh, you know, like, but no, it's a great book. There's really a lot more in it than meets the eye. Salty. What is a book that changed how you thought or related to other people, or that made you realize something about yourself that you were not aware of previously? And again, so I feel like all books should do this. They should teach us something about others. They should teach us something about ourselves. The best books do that anyway. So this is a very, man, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you'll kind of seen a lot of these books. This was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen was the first book that I read outside of school that was, you know, real literature. And yeah, it was, I still remember, because I was 17 years old. I was about 17 when I read it, and it was so hard for me to read it. And now when I pick it up, it's just like, oh, like greeting an old friend, like it's wonderful. So this was kind of the first book. I read both of these books the same school year, and so it was really important to see that books could be so much more. That there was so much pleasure to be had in that. So, all right. Okay, so I think these are some of the optional prompts. Unrefined palette. What is a book or genre that you consider a guilty pleasure? Although you really shouldn't feel guilty about anything you read, which is totally true. Okay. So I've shown this on my channel several times. This is The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. So I read this book, you know, when it was in hardcover, and I loved it. I think I read it in 4 days. And if you guys remember the hardcover of this book, it was huge. It was gigantic, but I devoured it. And I begged and finally got Jason to read it. And when he read it, he's like, you know, like pointed out some passages to me. And since I've mentioned this book a few times on my channel, and had a couple of people go, oh, I thought The Time Traveler's Wife. Ah, like I think it's Aaron, maybe, just Aaron, not Aaron, anybody else. But yeah, so I'm actually going to reread this book this coming year to see how I feel about it, because when Jason was reading it, he read some things, some passages out loud to me, and I was like, ooh, yeah, that is a bit cringeworthy. So anyway, yeah, so this is a book that I have mixed feelings about. I didn't have mixed feelings when I read it. And if I read it again and still love it, like I will totally hold on to it. And yeah, but I just want to, like, I need to know for sure. Let's see, the Eclectic Palette. What are the top 3 genres that you typically read or gravitate to? I am not, like, I mean, I hate to, I don't really know how to answer this one, because I read so many classics or like just like backlist books. I'm not that interested in new releases, like aside from the Pulitzer Prize, of course. So I want to know like why this book has lasted, or why someone recommended it to me, or that kind of thing. Like I'm sitting there, and behind the camera are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bookshelves full of books. And yeah, there's mysteries. There's Betsy Tacy series is up there. There's classics, there's thrillers, spy books. So yeah, but I really want to read something that I feel like, in general, I want to read something that I feel like is gonna last. Now, there are things that I've read even just within, I think, the last year. Oh God, How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. Is that the right book? You know, look, I'm not sure that book is gonna last like 100 years or anything like that, but it was so much fun. It was just such a fun read. I'm totally keeping that book. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, but it's very eclectic, for lack of a better word. And so I tend not to look at things so much from a genre perspective. I mean, truthfully, if we go back here, I mean, this book could be romance. This book has like a science fiction fantasy kind of element to it. Then this book just gets shelved in a bookstore in like fiction, you know, and it really could be in other places as well. Maturing palette. What is a genre you've read little or none of, but would like to sample more? What book, if any, prompted this? 2 genres, if we are gonna like break things down into genres, that I really haven't read very much of, or not anything, you know, as an adult, I guess I would say, or not very much as an adult, would be science fiction and fantasy and horror. I feel like science fiction and fantasy is probably more me than horror. Not that there's anything wrong with those few who like horror books, but there's been so many events in the last year, and a new event was just announced recently that relate to science fiction and fantasy. And so I just I want to participate, but I'm not interested in getting sucked into a whole bunch of series, you know, giant fat series books. I did recently read a book, Roth or Weird, by Andrew Caldecott, that I bought out of the science fiction and fantasy section of my local independent bookstore, and I did not like it. I don't want to say anything more about that because you know, it just wasn't for me, I guess, is maybe what I'm trying to say. I could definitely see the appeal for other people. One of the things I've been thinking about reading is maybe like Ursula Le Guin, The Left Hand of Darkness. This seems like maybe would be a good branch between the two. I'm not sure, and I also don't know if this is the first book in this particular series, I guess. So, but really, you know, what's prompted me to want to read more of that is frankly all of you. Now, I'm so sorry, like, I don't know who's done these tags, who hasn't. So if you'd like to do either of these tags or both of them, please consider yourself tagged. Feel free to do them. Oh, I also have to point out my little, okay, you guys have to see these earrings. These are my nutcracker earrings. And like the legs move and the arms move. So yeah, these were a gift from Jason. But anyway, all right, you guys, I hope you're having a great day. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, BookTube.